I can see it in your face already.
Yeah.
Mr. I think that's 2 drafts in a row now where on paper it looks like it's just so tough for Onyx ID to make it work. While Onyx PH, yeah, a little bit unique, but at the same time, the idea is clear and there's a lot of capability for them to shine on their own roles. You don't have to rely too much on playing together as a team. Leo, Lafel, what do you guys think about the 2 drafts?
I think we're going to see a lot of fighting here. Heck, 3 fighters on 1 composition. I want to see Onyx Philippines pushing it through, but hey, Onyx and Ninja with a standard draft here. Maybe they could do something by pushing it all the way to the late game. Welcome, folks, to the 2nd game of this 3rd place matchup. It's me, LaFell, and Leo calling this one.
Nothing is impossible given that in the first game of the series, an XP laner, Nay and Edith, with no Skypiercer, mind you, scored a Savage. So who's to say what and what can't happen here in Onyx versus Onyx?
Something I can say, though, this time is much different for this Kalia because, heck, now She has backup with a lot of damage and a lot of range. I kind of feel like that's the important part. I agree with the panel that it is a very difficult draft for this Farsa. But if you win by too much, it won't matter. So that's kind of the goal here coming in from Onyx Indonesia. Try to win enough so that even if something happens, they can't outplay you.
There's a lot of easy and quick damage coming through, but can that force themselves through the CC? Again, the sheer amount of crowd control that Onyx PH have on demand. Look at that XP lane matchup again, the Arlott against the CC, which I believe that Arlotts, the majority of Arlotts, save for Sanfords, have just ran into weird situations, especially the ones in Rome. But here, against CC, I think it's a valid pick.
And here's the thing, man. Looking at Onyx ID, almost every single person here has some form of dash to get out of a very sticky situation. So it does feel like Onyx ID, they're trusting on their own instincts as well as mechanics to make sure that they can outplay Onyx Philippines. So this is definitely one of those games where the reaction time is going to be highlighted by both teams.
Oh, Brusco here walking into that long side lane brush towards the corner. Kirk, vengeance on the one key boy, jumps in. Final slash from Kirk, not gonna keep him alive long enough as he gets drawn first blood on by Lutpi. Onyx ID already on the board, the vengeance popped in, keeping himself alive as Keyboy starts up the turtle.
Good instinct by Kyrie, making sure it doesn't go in, and now Predator S right used.
Very low HP, Onyx PH, the duo, the trio gets pushed back. Onyx ID claim the turtle, and now they're attempting Grand Theft Purple. Final slash once more. Can they stop it? The Tsunami Slam takes down Kirk. And where'd the purple go? It's on Kyrie.
And now, honestly, even though, yes, Keyboy got taken down, this is what Onyx ID is trying to establish. Some kind of map control earlier on, especially giving over the goal to either Sans or Kyrie. Kyrie, even though he only got 2 assists, it's better than nothing, right? Of course, you want to kill here, but either way, I feel like this is very good by Onyx Indonesia. As long as they can get more kills, and then preferably before the Lord spawns, get some turrets, at least 2, and I think you're in a very good position where you can just out-damage Onyx Philippines.
And that's what you're looking for if you want to really invest in this sound macro direction that you're going for. Again, very low kill count, very good movements to isolate certain parts of Onyx PH's attempts at, chain CCs. And so far, I think this is going to benefit plenty for Savero. We know that Savero, if he takes care of himself and he invests in himself, in his kit, that he has this clutch gene late game that maybe will allow him to claw Onyx ID back. But what if they're comfortable? What if they're in a good position all game long?
Looking at the rotations here coming in from Onyx Philippines, Onyx ID, they need to be aware by Turtle 2, it will most likely be 5-man coming in from Onyx Philippines. So they have to make a decision whether they want 4v5 or 5v5.
And that's 30 seconds from now. They started up. Already a Tsunami Slam on the Kirk. Won't let him live, but LaFell, isn't that overkill? They threw all them's ults on him.
Hey, maybe. Onyx ID is secretly just Destroyer. They really don't like that Arlott.
He was in their ear.
Yep.
And it makes sense because part of the joke, you want to get that final slash out of the equation. That can change the entirety of your approach. Imagine being within retribution range, get hit by that sweeping ult, push to the side, and then suddenly, poof, King Kong steals it. Speaking of King Kong, Mount Shocker revealing everyone from Onyx ID where their whereabouts are. The I'm Offended forcing the response, the Feather Strike, and the Vengeance. The fist break, trying to stop him from getting in the way. King Kong scores it, taking down Lutpi as well, while Kyrie finds Sprint, Tsunami Slam. Onto one, Kirk flickers back. The break once more, trying to stop the forward momentum of Onyx ID will result in a 2-for-1 trade. Make that a 3, because Onyx PH got the turtle.
Right now, I feel we can finally hear some noise coming in from Kyrie fans, because how long have they waited for him to use this kind of pick, using the Lancelot, dashing in and out, getting all those kills, and now he's looking amazing.
Too long, LaFell, too long. He is so comfortable. You can see it in his movements. This is that same hero that he's used years back to run away from an inevitable death that we all could have sworn he was going to die from. But Kyrie looked at death and said, nah, not today. About 2,000 gold ahead, Onyx IDR, and the map seemed to be on their side. Again, this is just going to benefit Savero all the while. He's not sweating at all.
Yep, Kyrie making Lancelot look like Lance too much. And again, They're going for one lane. They found Kelra. They want to go for it.
Tsunami Slam onto the Ruby. Again, there's only so much you can do as a fighter. You flicker back, you were still gonna die regardless. You were right smack dab in the middle of the circumference of that feathered airstrike, and there's so much pressure up top. Mountain Shocker used up the stun portion of that ult, gonna push back Onyx ID.
And this is how you make sure that your far side is safe by everyone that can disable you, which is using the ultimate crowd control. Death. Just kill them first. So this is a good initiation coming in from Onyx ID. And so far, Kirk not having a good time going up against Loopy. And Kyrie's here. Looks like he's not going to go for any kind of engage. Probably saving all those skills for this turtle.
Sadly, the one way that the Arlot could have been good into the CC is if you're away from the lane, if you're fighting somewhere else, if you're using your kit in a different way. A Tsunami Slam, serving it up, putting it at the tip of the feathered airstrike. Sans wailing away, hits him with 2 salvos, but Kelra survives with a flicker, but he's out of the conversation for this turtle take.
Yeah, but again, no Tsunami Slam coming in from Keyboy, so they got to make sure whoever engages next is going to be good.
Fist break and a crack on the Lutfi, forcing the vengeance, putting 4 members down of Onyx PH very low, and 3 bite the dust. Savero gets a double. Onyx ID are running through the super family.
I gotta say, man, Farsa and Kali are best friends because they make the impossible possible. Have 5 counters on your side. I don't care. This Kalia is gonna give so much kill or opportunity for the Farsa to actually be doing much. Right now, we're looking into the replay here where Loopy was the one that got engaged, but that vengeance made it so that not only did he survive, but actually got a lot of reflect damage onto Onyx Philippines. And this iteration of Lancelot deals so much damage so that that kind of outplay is possible.
Back to real life here. Sans just pulled the feathered airstrike to try and help Savero clear this wave and possibly take down this turret a notch or two. And I just noticed something. Lafel, this humble skin on Savero's Claude, its blazing duet is deceptively subtle.
Yeah.
It has a very low visual identity. You barely know that it's going on up until you see your life just at half.
Yeah, but speaking of which, looks like another engage going in, but looks like Keyboy caught no one. Oh, an engage!
Here comes Brusco punching his way through his problems, through Onyx PH's problems, and now Kirk right in the middle, smack dab of 4 members of Onyx ID gets punished. Mount Shocker plus a stun, not gonna stop Lootp's forward momentum, popping that vengeance, keeping Onyx ID's momentum up.
Onyx PH has a tough time asking Onyx ID to slow down, to stop moving. They have a lot of crowd control, but again, all of it is being avoided by Onyx Indonesia because we're seeing them moving in and out of the team fight quite freely. And I would say this is more on Onyx ID having that instinct of dodging all those kills, where we see Kyrie just stopping in his own tracks, anticipating some kind of engage either coming in from Kurt or Brusco.
Yep, fundamentally speaking, Onyx ID have all of the initiation. Onyx ID have all the ways to start fights. Onyx PH, what they're really good at is anticipating and reacting. I'm offended, check. Fist crack, fist break, check. Mountain Shocker, check. Final slash, check. So that alone is what describes this dichotomy between the Onyx ID and Onyx PH lineups. One is waiting, the other is just saying, let's keep going, let's keep going, let's fight, let's fight, let's fight. Lord here, down to a 3rd, a 5th, an 8th, a 10th, and it's over. A clean take for the Sky Kings.
Looks like a better engage coming in. Tsunami Slam onto Kirk. It looks like Kirk is going to get taken down. And now Brusco tries to make a play. It looks like Savero is still able to escape. Super Prince trying to get a kill onto him. But double kill for Keyboy. And now Loopy all alone in the front, trying to make some more plays. Kelra tries to get away. A good I'm offended. Pulling in Loopy, but it still survives.
So far, so good, so great for Onyx ID. Taking 2 kills, suffering none. Plus the Lord along the way, marching down bot. The Super Fam, they can't catch a break. Again, it's in the nature of these lineups. Who's the beatdown? 99% of the time, it's Onyx ID. A feathered airstrike, plus another Tsunami Slam. The final slash catching nobody. Except for Keyboy, he was a little in too deep, goes down.
I like the attempt, but yeah, so far Onyx Philippines was able to outplay that, but now Onyx ID with 8,000 gold lead, they're able to take a lot on the map. The Lord is still marching in. It's just the first Lord, so it's not going to be that devastating. Plus, looking at the inhibitors, the mid lane still having that Holy Shield does make it very difficult for Onyx ID to really end the game. So now it really is about choking Onyx Philippines, making sure that they don't get any farm after this.
But here's what's scary, Lofel. I have to mention, Onyx PH, yes, they are a reactive lineup. Their comp would like to wait for you to try and engage. That's very strong at the high ground defense. It's lethal, especially if you're underneath your tier 3s. And look at this. They're baiting Onyx ID. They're saying, hey, look, we're ready for another Tsunami Slam. Keyboy, you want any of us?
This is kind of scary because Kyrie did a lot of damage with just the War Axe. Now having the Endless Battle as well, there's going to be a lot more burst damage as well as healing going back into his HP. Looking at King Kong, still respectable amount of damage with the Blade of Despair as well as the Hunter Strike. A lot of penetration, cooldown, as well as just raw damage, but you really can't compare when the Lancelot have 3 items here. Even having 1 defense item with the Brute Force, making it so that even if you do catch him, it's gonna be hard to take him down.
Yeah, I'd reckon King Kong is about 1,000 away from finishing his Endless Battle. So that's definitely a big power spike that he can expect. All this while, Savera just picked up his Rose Gold Meteor Dog. That's the 4th item after the Swift Trinity. So it already comes to reason that even in the mid-game, you're already hurting with your subtle Blazing Duet, your stealth Blazing Duet. What more now when you're a little more chunkier, when you can protect yourself just for a second or 2 longer? He invested in this, mind you, instead of the Wind of Nature. But look, the Wind of Nature would also be very good since there are 3 fighters.
I gotta say, Onyx PH, for them to turn things around, they gotta do what JP did and play like an assassin as you go to the backline. Either Kirk, Brusco, or heck, Super Prince. Maybe even anyone could really do that, because I gotta feel like the moment you're able to stop that Feather airstrike, a lot of the firepower is dealt with.
And it's all the more easier. If anything, Lafel, they have great tools. They have the Mount Shocker. They can see where the pieces of Onyx ID are, but this 9K gold lead is just too huge. Kelra here, nice attempt. Flicker, I'm offended, no one home. But here comes the punish to Keyboy looking for a target. Already spent the Tsunami Slam. Brusco and Kirk hit with a curtain call. Brusco able to retreat, and Onyx PH sent packing.
Yep, a lot were used, but still, no one really died in that final engage. And Onyx ID, they're fine with that. Having 10,000 gold, the minions are looking good. They're setting it up. The Lord is marching down bot, trying to slow it down so that Kyrie can get his buff first. This could be an end angle, but like you said, the draft coming in from Onyx Philippines, they're actually very good at defending. So Onyx ID, if they want it, they got to get some kills first.
Onyx ID are just waiting for this Lord to come a-crashing, so they're managing the movements of these waves from mid and top. Not going to be fully synced, but at least that's a lot of pressure coming down on the Super Fam's base. Here comes the Lord, putting that bottom lane inhibitor at about 0 health. And there's the damage on Keyboy. Lutpi pushing the advantage. Mount Shocker here by King Kong. Checking range. Final slash finds one, but Keyboy answers back in kind. Kirk very low. Kirk goes down. Sans gets the kill. And that's already 1 member of the Super Fam taken out of the equation. Super Prince very low as well. Kyrie takes him. And now here comes Savero holding on to the Blazing Duet. Does not use it just yet. Oh, wow, the discipline on this young man.
You know what? I'm surprised Sans hasn't gone back yet. He's like, I'm barely having any HP, but you know what? I can take some minions still. Looks like on the ID, they don't want to stop. They want to make sure that they get this mid inhibitor. And now the minion waves, there's only 2. Will this be enough?
They also want the finish. Feather strike coming in, plus a Tsunami Slam. Oh, the I'm offended, not enough to save him. Didn't even get to pull it out. Here comes the Blazing Duet. King Kong gonna fall, and just Kirk left to defend. Can he do it? Vengeance plus a final slash plus another Vengeance, and now it's over. Onyx ID take us to deadlock, 1-1.
It took a while, but finally, this is the Onyx Indonesia we've been waiting for. A lot of burst damage, a lot of engages, a lot of team fighting. This is something that we wanted to see. And speaking of something that we want to see, I'm pretty sure Destroyer didn't like what he saw on that Arlet. So far securing only Sanford.
I can almost hear Destroyer saying, I told you so.
He might even say that after this. But again, to be fair, that Arlet was ganked mercilessly. Like it almost felt like Destroyer was there. Where the coach was like, I don't care if you lose, just make sure this Arlet goes 0-10.
Luckily, it worked out. Again, all of this pressure on Onyx PH, and that half of the map was enough to stop him from doing anything at all.
And with this action-packed match, I'm pretty sure the panelists have a lot to say. So we're going to be throwing over to you guys, where right now Onyx ID has equalized.
I told you so.
There you have it. There you have it. validated in his opinions about the R-Lot. Kirk struggled here, but yeah, we said Onyx PH had the easier lineup to pull off theoretically, but what happened?
We did until we forgot about Arlot, man. The state of Arlot right now is not very good, unless the one caveat there, Sanford, like we've seen so far. But yeah, there's something about it. And talk about a contrast from game 1 to game 2 for Kirk specifically. Really difficult here, and I think Onyx Indonesia just really played into the part. Like every single time that we want to find someone to go ahead and Tsunami Slam, Kirk's the easiest. He usually puts himself in position to do that anyway because he's trying to get a final slash off. So they just really punished hard and didn't give any opportunity really for anything to happen off of that.
They just played, Onyx Indonesia, yeah, played for the first target, and they were focusing like, okay, we see Arlot, let's go Arlot. And the biggest problem for the Kirk, again, it's Arlot, definitely, and he got no escape. If you engage, one-way ticket, that's all. That's the problem. It's not about the Kirk playing bad, it's about Arlot all the time.
Yeah, it's and not even just Kirk, but also I think it was just, you know, it was nice to see the Kagura, man, but that also just didn't work. Like, it didn't do too much. Once that Yin Yang overturn is done, then if you're comparing that to the damage or the value that even a Farsa brings, like, it's not comparable at all.
Yeah, just the combo of those two alone. As we mentioned, it was the Tsunami Slam, Feathered Airstrike. Whoever is the first target that you see, that's it. Pretty much GG for Onyx PH in terms of the fights, because once they lose one frontliner, it's so tough to sustain a fight when you have your R-Lot gone, when you're going up against what Onyx ID brought to the table. So is it really just the story of R-Lot got picked?
Of math.
Story of math.
5
okay.
more than 4.
Well, yeah, because like with one guy always constantly just getting picked off, then yeah, you're gonna have a man disadvantage, and if you're not getting the items and the flow of the game that you want on the side of Onyx PH, yeah, Onyx ID can run away with it. What we thought was gonna have a hard time, the Lancelot of Kyrie, we did not see that at all. He had a perfect game.
Again, it was enabled because of the way the composition worked, the way the lineup worked. It was all good for them, and you also sprinkle in the fact that when you're that far behind, even in one of the lanes, like, it's so difficult, especially when you're the guy who's like supposed to set things up. Like that's initially what Arlot's picked up to do, and if you don't get that opportunity to do that, like, you're an automatic dead hero, you know, like that's just the case of it. Like we saw from the KDA, he was just trying to force things up. But so this gives room for Kyrie to just flow through the game, and that's probably the best position to be in when you're playing these assassin junglers like the Lancelot.
And you know, one more thing, when you play with so much AoE composition, you're straightforward. You got one plan, and the opponents totally understand it. When you got the setup, when you can like take one person, okay, just remove it, and we got an advantage. And the problem when you got this AoE composition, the second problem, it's not only that your opponent understands what you're gonna do. If you lose one person, so your comp, like, it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, it just gets busted. It's like what we were posing earlier about there's a chance that the lineup of Onyx PH can shine individually outside of team play. It's if, funnily enough, they're complete as a team. If the 5 members are there, then you have an increased chance of, okay, you can get the Ruby doing its own thing, the Arlot doing its own thing, but you lose one of that element. Now you're forced to play together as 4 against a lineup that just bursted 5, and the Claude wasn't even there yet.
Yeah, you needed way too much time. And you can see, I mean, even given the loss here, both teams still really in high spirits, even pointing at each other, laughing at each other, and smiling. So, you know, I know when we got into this match, it was like, well, we hope to see some entertainment, some great picks come out. Well, I think so far for 2 games, we have seen that. Some might
Savage,
other
you know.
years. Yeah, you know, we saw the second Savage now of MSC. So I think that's the thing. But that's the main point, is even for these fun drafts, even for these fun picks, if you lose like one of the main components to make it work, and this has been the case throughout MSC, then you're going to lose those team fights, you know, every single time.
Yeah, and I think we're also seeing now as to why Claude has been popping more off now, especially here in this knockout stages, because now that becomes your X factor, where in, let's say, 4v5, you've already, or let's say in a theoretical 5v5, you've used majority of your abilities. But then the Claude hasn't used his Blazing Duet yet. And even without the Blazing Duet, we know how good Claude is. He's just great with a sustained basic attack. That now we're seeing, okay, now you really have to consider Claude and how we set up for the Claude success. So that might be one of the next heroes now we'll see getting contested by
Claude?
these two. Claude, yeah.
I hope so, especially with Leo on the desk, man. I mean, I know sometimes it's a LaFell with the sound effects, but
Yeah.
I need those sound effects to keep coming through.
Also, there is one more thing that Cloud gives you. Additional monkey, additional player.
That's a great point. Yeah, you have your
Dexter.
6
You
man
actually
in
play
Dexter.
6 versus 5.
Okay, so now that's one of our themes we're looking out for here. Simple math.
Wait, so technically in that case, in Destroyer math,
Yeah.
when they lost the R lot, it's still a 5v5. Right? Wait, no, wait.
Why?
No, that wait,
It'd be
what was the
6v4s.
It'd be 6v4. Never mind.
You
you're
see,
out. Destroyer math.
outsmarted.
Oh, I like that. Okay, so
They just outsmart the opponent with the monkey.
so in Destroyer math, does the umbrella of the Kagura count as a player? No.
No.
But Dexter does.
Yes.
Okay, so simple Destroyer math here for Onyx came through with a 6th man Dexter in the hands of Savero, the gold lane of Onyx ID. And yeah, it's good to see that Onyx, despite the shattering loss in game number 1, it's like they stuck back to a basic idea of pick off one, let's go after that. And then maybe moving forward, that's what we'll see from Onyx ID, that maybe less on the fannies, less, yes, you can still get high mechanic heroes for Kyrie, but just get that raw damage that you know Indonesian teams are like known for dishing out.
Yeah, they like that very specific play style, and you know, honestly, we've seen pretty much all the teams kind of adapt to that so far with our current meta. I don't know, would you guys say that our meta for, because we always talk about this when it comes to internationals and even in our own respective regions, do you think it's actually established now, or is it like, is that meta, can we say, which is so odd because on the last day, are we saying that it's established?
No, I think it's still shifting.
Yeah.
It's still in progress.
I think we're in agreement there. I think it's established, but in the sense that everyone knows that there's so many options that you can go for now. That it's like a wide pool.
During this MSC, we got around 85 heroes, right?
Yeah, enough.
So
yeah.
something like that. And we're still in progress of searching. And the pro players totally understand. I even pretty sure that the coaches are still sitting and calculating, like, what should I do? This here. What's better? Like 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 2 + 2 is 4, etc. Dexter.
All the math.
And it's
Destroyer
just
math.
ultimate
Destroyer math.
Destroyer math, yeah, happening here.
All right. Here's a little bit more math for y'all out there. All the way up until August 7th, the MSC 2025 chest, will be available for only 20 diamonds. You could draw the luxury reward, the returning MSC skin Atlas Rune Sentinel, plus your first 3 openings of the chest guarantee you Crystal of Aurora and Banner of Morale. That's not all, because up to 1,000 MSC coins could be yours too. Buy the MSC support chest now and cheer for our mid-season cup. Again, we are in the final day of the mid-season cup after everything that's happened in wild cards, group stages, now here in the knockouts. It's 1-for-1 in the battle for third, and with all of the crazy picks we suggested, all right, I think we have to find some stability. Stability in the EXP lane. Maybe R-Lot might not be the best route to go for, or if you're considering going the R-Lot, maybe a little bit later. You don't? For you, it's straight up just no more R-Lot.
No more, not in this series, please, guys.
I was gonna say we might see him later for the grand final
No.
match. For the,
Oh,
for the-
wait. Okay.
Chill out. Chill out a bit on the R-Lot.
Just reminding the time. Yes, we can.
Okay, first pick for Onyx PH, I think, yeah, the YSS first pick was great, and then
Yep.
I think a little bit down the line, they just sort of lost it. I wouldn't mind if they go for YSS here, and then we can get just readjusted picks for Onyx PH. The last time we saw Onyx versus Onyx PH in a Moonton tournament was actually in the M3 World Championship group stage, where Sans played as the jungler and won 1-0. So that was during the time where the M3 group stages... Wait, no, that was a best of 2, right? Because you could go 1-1 if I remember.
Was it a
correct.
best of 2?
Or maybe at that
been a while.
point you could just it's just 1.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of MLBB since M3. So
Gosh, I was gonna say M3. That's been a while. You know, I remember specifically watching M3 in just at home. Like I was just like I wasn't even casting it. I was just watching it.
no, wait, weren't you? You were already casting.
Was I?
Yeah.
No, okay, wait.
You just
Was-
weren't flown out. And then we had the Filipino
No,
broadcast.
that was after
before.
my first season. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was after your first season.
So I
season
still
8.
felt like
yeah.
yeah.
All right. Okay. So as expected, Onyx Philippines will still go to the Yusen Shin route, but you just have to readjust. Maybe a bit more stable picks in the EXP lane, and maybe not too crazy a pick in the mid lane. Like
Yeah.
something a little bit more simple than the Kagura.
Do they maybe just take the Farsa? Like, you know, that might be able to work really well with the YSS pick. You can see the Gatakacha over here. What do they?
You know, I think that they could potentially think about and adjust the draft about mid. If you already mentioned, actually, Renmar, you mentioned today that if is going back and they got nearly equal range. I mean, if you speak about the Farsa and if.
Yeah, could also be one of the options, and I think that's why Onyx rushed the Gatakacha and even the Lancelot. It's like they're already telling Onyx Page, we know your best options are either like Farsa, Eve, heroes like that. That will make it difficult for you to play those artillery mages.
Yeah, I mean, if they still want to pick up the Farsa, that's fine. I think Eve is very situational in a lot of cases, though, too. But the fact that you already have this YSS up, the Selena is gone, so they'll go with another pick that has found a interesting place in the current meta. Like, Jushin still works, but there are obviously teams that utilize it better now that you have a Phoveus too that can be that, you know, front line. I feel like usually that's the case anyway, unless you have a really hard start to the game. But Phoveus naturally is going to be tanky enough, but then you get the Lapu Lapu on the other side from Monica Indonesia.
And it's a signature pick for Kirk, actually. If you speak about Phoveus, he really likes it. He performs well.
Oh, we saw.
Oh, but it's gonna be an Onyx ID, so it's gonna be in the hands of Lutpi. Kirk will get the Phoveus, which struggled last night, but let's see how well it will fare this time around. Good thing that they banned the CC though.
Yeah.
I think that's what they were already seeing. So both teams are in agreement. Now Onyx PH knows that Onyx will shine really well with artillery mages. I think it's going to be up to them if they're going to ban either the Kadita or the Farsa. That will most likely end up in the hands of Sans.
I think maybe just take out the Farsa here for their last ban. I think maybe since we saw them ban out the Kadita before, there it is.
Yeah,
So they banned that out. Maybe just better to go ahead and handle the Kadita if they decide to go ahead and draft it for Onyx Indonesia. And then over on the other side, you see that Baksha was taken out. So interesting, because yeah, the YSS being over there. What could they pick up for a roam then for Onyx Philippines here?
I think we should predict something for the Onyx Indonesia, because right now they are on the first iteration, and actually I don't expect Kadita. I'll explain why. In the previous draft it was okay because of the Kalea, so you got the composition, but here like catch only with Gatot, that's all. So yeah, and here Kimi.
Another hero that you're not a big fan of here,
I'm not a
Destroyer.
big, it's okay. I'm not a big fan, but it depends. It depends on the trio. Trio with Lancelot and Gatotkachi. You got good push potential for the mid lane. You can rotate fast, no problems here, but you need time. And here's a question to the Onyx Philippines. You need something super fast, and like for skipping lanes and initiation.
So
for the
Cho.
Cho, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Cho's probably going to be the perfect pick here. Answering Naisu's question earlier, the roam pick for Brusco. They go for the Harith, but they're not going for the Cho.
Why?
Oh, no, Destroy.
Well, it is in a different lane at least.
Yeah, it's in the roam, but
This is where I usually play the
You know,
Onslaught.
I wanted to mention that they took Phoveus, so there is no chance that Onyx Indonesia gonna take her lot. And I was so happy. And Onyx Philippines, Destroyer.
Here we go again.
I think this is good, though. I think it works better. Arlott and the Rome, at least in this case, you could go ahead and play into the Harith, and I think that's why those last picks were held on to, because you could either, and this is always the case with Arlott, it's always a 50-50, because you can use it to set things up really well for the Zaman Force, or it could end up just putting yourself in a bad position, but you're also covering it with a Fovea, so you have that there. You can see the last pick is the Granger, though, from Onyx Indonesia.
But you see, the thing is, I was making the point that they need, I mean, Onyx Philippines need a strong triple mid, and they take a lot.
I have faith. I'm having faith, man.
All right. You got Destroyer Knights who torn apart in the center of the map. If the Arlott will just be a great combo with the YSS and the Zhu Sin. Let's see, because Onyx have set up for their Kimmy and Granger really well. Leo and Lefel, let's go.
There's a lot to say about this one. I love the Kimi Granger, and you know what? We might need Medic for Destroyer because there's gonna be a lot of Arlott in this matchup. But welcome back. This is game number 3, the special 5 between Onyx ID going up against Onyx Philippines, the third place match. We're starting it here, and again, assassin versus assassin between King Kong and Kyrie.
You know what, LaFell, I'm worried about our friend from the ECA because he's this close to getting an aneurysm, but I think that is from a lack of faith.
He's molding.
He's molding, but I see what Onyx PH are getting to here. This is Brusco now. Did you see how Brusco played on the Badang game number 1? Look at this, he's very low. Could have taken down Keyboy. He's down to 5th of his health. Super Prince threatening the kill on the Sans. The choke on the Keyboy. King Kong coming in with an early rotation too. Might even score the Little Wanderer. That's a technical knockout on Brusco, but hey, that's the cost of getting aggressive early on.
And right now, Keyboy already using the Revitalize, make sure that San stays in lane, but now looks like King Kong goes in.
Whoop! Flicker's already spent with a choke slam, taking down the Gila one.
I gotta say, these mid laners are playing like EXP laners, trying to trade as much as they can, and so far, Onyx Philippines is on top. King Kong very patient to stay in the mid lane to make sure a gank actually happens.
So here's a quick look at the emblems, trying to understand where these teams are coming from, how they built their heroes. How often does this happen? Concussive blast on the Phobius. He wants to clear quick and leave.
I mean, look at that. He even has the thrill. So kind of wants to win the lane, kind of, making sure that there's a bit more damage than you would expect, I guess. Yeah, looking at how the map is looking like, even with Onyx Philippines winning that mid lane, so far it doesn't translate too much, which is good for Onyx Indonesia, because at this point I kind of feel like, if possible, they do want to play for that turtle. The difference is, this time without the Kalia, the setup isn't going to be as easy, you know, comparing the Kalia as well to Gapikacha.
Yep, there's more steps for Onyx ID to find success. Now Onyx PH first to the scene, looking for that choke on the Keyboy. Kirk putting him up. The bravest fighter set in already. Lutpi ready to go, throwing hands, or should I say great swords into the back line. King Kong looking for that traceless, and the successful retribution coming in from the Sigma jungler. Onyx PH pushing the advantage. Look at this, they're crossing the threshold. Crimson Beacon finds Sans, finds another. Keyboy forces a revitalize, but it's not going to be enough. The Onyx PH squad are way too deep to find nothing. They take down Keyboy.
This is the consequences of dying early as a mid laner. You don't get that level 4 on time. And that caused them to lose, but hey, Lutpi trying to get something back, getting a kill. And it looks like he's able to escape, no problem.
They did not expect a rogue Lapu-Lapu to be waiting for them in the bush, and it's Kirk who gets the worst of it. Bottom lane, we haven't really talked about this much. Again, you give Kelra and Savero space, you don't know what you're cooking with. Kyrie going for that small camp attempt, and now they're crossing over. Oh no, Super Prince is a little too deep. He does have a flicker, almost bumped into the wall, gets away with it though. No one's watching.
Yep. Overall, a lot of attempts coming in from both teams, but nothing super successful just yet. So definitely got to look at those timers on those flickers, especially, which also in my opinion, Kirk kind of used the flicker very early in the previous turtle fight, but again, not punished, so overall still looking pretty good. Savero having that Hunter Strike, it does mean, oh, hold on, Final Flash.
And it starts. The Mountain Shocker's thrown out. Oh, but Brusco misplaced himself. Used the flicker, but no one caught with the final slash. They put him where they wanted to be. Onyx ID are at least cutting it close, 2-2.
But we can definitely see Onyx PH, the idea is really trying to shut down Suns as much as they can. Because how many times have they ganked mid? At this point, it looks personal.
Yep, this is the same situation that they found themselves in Game 1. Again, we're not used to Suns being forced to play reactively, to be on the back foot. And this seems to be the play for the Super Fam. Now Savero put down a half health. This is where the turtle is going to be spawning, so this is hitting 2 birds with 1 stone, pressuring the gold lane and starting up early. Keyboy, the middle of 3 here. Red Revitalize already used. Brusco down to 5th of his health. And the Mount Shocker. Keyboy doesn't want to catch the tail end of that stun. In comes Lutpi. Uses his ult. Finds Brusco into the back line there. And he is still alive. Spellbound going to keep him up. Keyboy. Defensive AOG. Kelra unable to stop Kyrie from scoring the second turtle. Keyboy might go down here. The captain of the Sky Kings fall.
A bit messy coming in from both teams, but again, we see the idea coming in from Onyx Indonesia. It doesn't matter who, as long as it's Arlet, we gotta take him down. And I gotta say, Leo, the fact that Sans has been targeted so much, I blame Savero. He's so ungankable that you just gotta go mid. Going to the EXP is gonna be difficult going up against this Lapu Lapu, so, you know, Savero's so good that Sans has to take the hit for it.
I agree with you, because the only reason why King Kong and Kelra tried in the bottom lane because it was free. They already have the turtle there anyways, but regardless, they would not waste time to try and take down a Savero. So this is the best Onyx PH can do, is to just check what's going on with Savero, lest they will still continue to try pressure Sans. Sans jumping up, forcing a flicker from Super Prince. Now the response, do they know this is 4? Yes, they do know it's 4, and it's still worth it. Keyboy, revitalized already. Final slash hits 2, displacing Sans. But Keyboy might bite it here. Looking for the damage. AOG. Between these 3 from Onyx PH, there's really nothing going on. Instead, it does buy time and space for Kelra to push, though. Down bottom, that's the first taken down. Zaman force drop to push Savero back.
At this point, I'm pretty sure Kelra is a bit annoyed because he's not trading with Savero. Savero's playing very, very safe.
Fight me!
Fight me! Come on, man! You're a Granger! You know how to use this hero, but yeah, looking at the fight, looks like Keyboy was trying really hard to bait out as many skills as possible coming in from Onyx Philippines and then just threading the needle with AOG. Looking at the gold difference here, not a lot of gold difference when we're looking at gold. The biggest difference is in the jungle, but this is the thing about Yi Sun-shin. Just farm up very, very fast, and he's using it to his advantage.
The meta may change, but players' habits do not. King Kong keeping up his jungling pattern and his speed even in August of 2025. Final turtle spawns, lower quarter, here we go. Onyx PH, major presence here. Bush control here from Brusco, missing. The flicker spent in already. Keyboy splitting up Super Prince and King Kong. Lutfi scores. How that happens? Up and force by Kelra. Pushing back Keyboy, Sans, and Kyrie, but it's not enough. They're compromised. Brusco falls. They're a man down. AOG Keyboy splitting up the rest of Onyx PH. Down goes Prince. Nothing for the M6 World Champions there, and that turtle take goes all to the Sky Kings.
Lupi is amazing at splitting up families, man, because he makes sure that there's no 5v5 team fights. He goes to the back line, makes you choose who do you want to deal with, everyone else or just me?
That doesn't sound as good as it looks, but Lutfi is doing God's work for the Indonesian champions here. And there's just not him doing that. Keyboy too. Look at this late entry AOG coming in. And there it is. Oh, masterful. Onyx PH really had no business being deep into that fight the way they were.
Yeah, this is a good way for Onyx Indonesia to approach this team fight, which is just making sure it's not a 5v5. Don't make it honest. Make it so that you gotta choose who you gotta deal with. And we got a lot to deal with here. Onyx ID still 1,000 gold ahead. Good at going up against Onyx Philippines, but again, looking at their damage dealers, looking at Kelra as well as King Kong, they're in a very good position to get back into this game.
Yep. If anything, King Kong is in a more beneficial spot. Keyboy here, unable to pop the AOG to be able to retreat. King Kong is just going to farm. King Kong is just going to farm. The fact that Savero denied a lot of fights from Kelra, maybe that's what made the 500 gold difference, but the Super Fam ain't sweating it. The Super Fam ain't sweating it. Onyx ID are looking for their wins, licking their wounds. They've lost the 1,000 gold lead. I don't know where to find it next, because to be able to split up a family, right, as you so eloquently put it,
yes,
the family has to be together. But look at this now. Onyx PH are actually across the map. They're spread out.
Yeah, and the fact that King Kong, I feel like Keyboy really hold on. Looks like Kirk got caught.
And Kirk is gonna go down here. Savero gets the kill. Zaman Force spent in by Kelra, dashing through, and Sans gets bitten down. Perfect chrono vision. Now Keyboy left to the dogs here, and by the dogs I mean the Filipino porcupines. 2 for 1 the trade. Onyx PH come out on top.
Amazing Mount Shocker coming in from King Kong, stunning 2. And I was about to say, I kind of feel like Onyx ID, they're miscalculating the amount of damage that Yisun Shin could do, because the last time they saw him, it was just a Hunter Strike. But now he has a BOD as well. Look into the mid lane here. Look at how Yisun Shin, King Kong enters the fight. Flicker used and then getting to both Sans, as well as Savero got caught. Purify a little bit too late. I can't blame them. Who would have saw that coming?
Also, immaculate positioning on Kelra. He was fighting between a bush, a wall, and the other half of the map that belonged to Onyx ID, and he made it work. Great positioning. That's what scored the Free Lord for Onyx PH. And now the map will work itself up to become in blue. Super Friends pushing back all 5 members of Onyx ID. Now it's their turn to pull an Indonesian Ube.
Yeah, but right now, Onyx ID, they have a good way to clear the Lord. Mount Shocker used. Fader waiting for a position. Oh, the crit miss!
Amazing placement! They cordoned off all of Onyx ID behind that tier 2 up top. Super Fridge Crimson, Beacon and Flicker deep into Onyx ID's base. Worth it. All is worth it. 3 for 1 plus this charge on the inhibitor. Onyx PH, a blitzkrieg up top.
I gotta say, I didn't see that one coming, because I thought the Dark Wave missed with the Flicker, but they made it work, and now the inhibitor up top is destroyed. Looks like the second tier turret down bottom is gonna follow suit. And if it doesn't get any worse, Kelra here now having that Holy Crystal. It's gonna be a lot of damage that Onyx ID has to chunk through, and now Onyx ID, they don't even have a good way to actually initiate a fight. It's so different between Agato Kacha as well as Kalia. Kalia, you almost don't have to think about it. Just press your ult, whoever's there, you just go with it.
There's a lot of foresight involved if you're playing the Gatot. One of the main differences is at least there's a defensive aspect of Gatot, not so much for Kalia. Looking at the items right now, you know that a Harith is ahead when it doesn't build the book. Kelra went straight for the Holy Crystal, went straight for the Scythe, went straight for the Feather. And Harith mains, be happy. Like, Kelra is making your hero once more worth it, because there was a time in the past month when Harith was totally useless.
With that said, we gotta look, no real gold difference between the gold laners, only about like what, 100, 200. So Savero is still farming up very, very well. And a reverse situation between King Kong as well as Kyrie, because now Kyrie is the one with 2 items and King Kong is the one with 3. And the thing about a Yisun Shin is that you skill very, very well. So yeah, definitely a much different position now. Onyx PH against Onyx ID. They really got to respect King Kong here, because Yisun Shin is deceptively strong.
Yep, very high macro utility, very good damage burst if you have good positioning. Picks up the Malefic gun, rather roar here. Able to shred right through even Lutpi or Keyboy. I also like how Savero now has the Sea Halberd, so he can even pierce through Kelra's shields, even Super Fences, because those are what makes the difference between a fight that ends well for Onyx ID or a fight that just ends, period.
I gotta tell you, Leo, if I'm Onyx ID, this is so difficult, because at this point I don't know who to target, because everyone's so slippery. Kelra slippery, Super Prince slippery, King Kong slippery. It's not that you don't want to catch. The question is how?
Oh, fight breaks out, forces Super Prince to go defensively. King Kong gets shut down by Kyrie. That's a lot of damage spread out through the Super Fam, and they split him up again. That seems to be the key here. Kelra dancing to the top, of course. Oh, does not stand long enough. Kyrie gets a triple. Brusco and Kirk, the only ones left. Onyx PH have gotten denied their front line. Once again, the banana split works out for Onyx ID as they claim a Lord.
I was wondering, who are they gonna target? They were decisive. Go for King Kong first, followed by Super Prince. And then when Kelra's all alone, you deal with him then. Split up the team fight and being decisive. Gotta give a big heads up to Lupi. He went for the first engage and it worked out well.
He's so good at splitting up the Super family.
That's how you deal with family. You split them up. But now, yeah, looking back at this replay, it almost looks like they're doing a magic trick. Like, hey, everyone, look at Loopy.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, everyone else goes straight for King Kong. That's clever.
One might also look at it this way. Don't pay attention to Brusco or Kirk. That's what Onyx PH wants you to do. And they said, just ignore those two. They're way too chunky. It's useless for us to try. Go for Fritz, Kelra, and King Kong. Down goes the Monster Mage again. He is slain. So is Brusco. The Zaman Force left there. Kelra didn't even get to use it. The Lord for Onyx ID still standing as it crashes through mid.
Yeah, super. Even like, holy, Kelra gets taken down.
Dwayne!
By Kyrie, double kill. And now they want to go through Kirk. Looks like he's going to get taken down by Safaro. And Onyx ID, match point against Onyx Philippines.
It's as if the lightning engage by Onyx up top was fast and swift. Onyx ID one-upped them in mid all the way. The Super Fam were just gathering their breath. They were still recovering from that split. And then suddenly the end.
I gotta say, this shows how much Onyx Indonesia understands how Onyx Philippines looks at the map. They understand how to make sure they don't have what they want. I like the smoke and mirrors coming in from Onyx Indonesia, showing two hands. Look at my left while my right is doing something else. This is an amazing showcase by Onyx Indonesia on how the Brawl server Indonesia really understands how to work the team fight. But now, with match point, we're going to be throwing it over back to the panel. Looks like Onyx ID, they're up a game against Onyx PH.
After two stompy games, we finally get an incredibly intriguing and close one where it was actually Kiboy in the mid who found the right targets on the side of Onyx PH with an unbreakable taunt that led to Onyx ID getting the Lord and eventually getting the win.
Yeah, and a triple for Kyrie in that one. But, you know, this is just a showcase of how impactful all the roles in the, you know, the flow of a game can be here.
I actually want to add that there are so many mistakes, like from both teams. Not mistakes, like outplays. Okay, let's call it like this. So from the first time when Onyx PH, they just bounced back, and with the Mount Shocker, they made like King Kong initiation that was super amazing. And from that part, they started to dominate. Back then, like several minutes later, Onyx Indonesia, like Kiboy, just dropping down, and everybody is bursted.
Yeah, it's really good to see that we got to see, yes, with two explosive teams like this, the risk of mistakes can be high, but the return on investment with outplays, with great performances, is even more magnified. And I like how we got to see a back and forth of that.
I was kind of expecting Destroyer still to comment about the R-Lot.
It's too obvious.
Even when you throw it in the hands of Brusco, it's still, you know, unfortunately doesn't get the win there for them. But yeah, it was just a really good punish. And this is honestly what we've seen a lot for MSC 2025 is just these situations where it's like one team is, you know, already charging into the base. They got the Lord with them. They still have the Holy Shields. But then it's that one team fight, or maybe a couple of those team fights that can really turn the tables. And then before you know it, the game is over. You know what I mean? So it's like, it was one of those cases here too, where both teams had their own, you know, power spike and everything else working for them. It should have been this case or that case. But again, one major play in the mid lane changed the course of that.
Yeah, and it's funny because if you could see it from the other side of the story, the side of Onyx Philippines, if they won that game, it would have been the same thing where it was just that one play around the major objective, the Mountain Shocker, all of them being able to set up themselves for victory. So I'm glad now that after, again, two very one-sided games, we get a game 3 that's back and forth that shows some of the best reasons why Onyx ID and Onyx PH are at the top of their game. We will be back in just a bit for game number 4, where Onyx ID are in the lead 2-1. idea. Two to one in favor of Onyx Indonesia, the champions of Indonesia, while Onyx Philippines, the reigning world champions of our esport, but second place in MPL Philippines in the tournament leading up to MSC. Now it's up to them to figure out how they're gonna crack the code that Onyx ID have found. First step, maybe, just maybe, take the Lancelot away from Kyrie.
I agree with that. I'm going to say take the Lancelot, don't pick up the Arlot, and give yourself
I agree with it.
nice bursty mage. I think will set them up to get to a game 5.
Also, I would prefer to see from them the most stable roamers. I mean,
Yes.
like, you make a bet on the OE composition, but I don't like it. Make it more clear for you. Just catch your opponents. Like Onyx Indonesia showed us. Go Kale, go Cho, make it real. Okay, even one person, you remove it from the fight, and Destroyer Math starts here.
Exactly. Destroyer Math. You take one out, you're up one. That means the chances of you winning the fight are really good. By the way, shout out to all our re-streamers across the world, now being led by Setya Wanade. Peak viewers peaked at 217,000 plus and more, with almost 2 million hours watched on his stream. We also have Zaycast Gaming, Skylar, and R7 Tatsumaki on the board. So a lot of Indonesian names that I'm very familiar with. So congratulations to all our re-streamers, and shout out to everyone like spreading the good word. That is MSC here at the Esports World Cup. You see Coach Yeb and Coach Why Not actually just like, yeah, I wonder what they're talking about. I really wish we could.
The players are laughing too, so
Yeah.
you know, like.
So there's a fun conversation between the two head coaches, I guess. But going back to the draft, I really like the main points that we focused on. For Destroyer, it was a stable roam pick. For Naisu, yes, take out the Lancelot, get burst. Was there other condition? And don't get the Arlot.
Yeah.
So I think across the board, those are the main. That's where we can anchor the drafts into, like those main ideas. Maybe for Kiboy and Sans, the main trade now will be heroes like the Cho, Kalea, the pick-off heroes that we know them to be really good at.
Maybe at this point too, they were the coaches were like, "Come on, give me red side."
Yeah.
Stop laughing.
Is this is the fourth game in a row now? Onyx Philippines on the blue,
Yes.
right? So
I said you from the beginning. Just rewind the time and remember that.
Yep. You know, so I don't know, man. I guess based off the first pick that we're eventually going to see from Onyx Philippines will tell us if they change it or not, because even then, like YSS still being open, it's like, do they still opt for that? Do they still go utility, or do they just potentially put an assassin in the hands of King Kong?
Yeah, 'cause I feel like for 2 games now, Onyx ID has gladly told Onyx PH, get the YSS. It's fine for us. So maybe that's something that Onyx PH will think about. That okay, if they're so okay with us getting Yisan Shin, what then do we go to? Do we go back to the Baksha in the jungle, or maybe even as a potential flex pick, first pick?
I liked your suggestion about ban Lancelot, but they ban Gatotkacha. So, a question mark.
Yeah.
If they want priority for themselves, Lancelot, or they still go the same, Yushin Shin.
Yeah. I think that's now the choice of Onyx to decide that. It's them banning out Gacha, it's Onyx PH telling Onyx ID, your choice. Either you're going to give us the YSS again, or you're going to give us the Lancelot. With the CC taken out, now Onyx PH has the choice. You see, Coach Yep is making a face like, I see what you're trying to do. So you know what? I'll take away a really good CC option that could have been a first pick for Onyx PH.
Yeah, so this leaves a whole lot. Basically what we're saying here is a whole lot is left open for really good priority, because, and this is a big one for Onyx Philippines, you'll see it, they're still going to go for the YSS. And a part of it, again, from last game is it's the YSS. He still is a valuable hero pick, and that's why we see teams pick it up early on. But complementing it is the other thing, you know, being able to complement it. And that could have also just been the fact why they went with those first 3 bans. It plays well into the game plan that Onyx Philippines probably wants to take. So now for Onyx Indonesia, it's wide open as well. They could take the Phoveus if they want to. They take the Lancelot, which is expected. It's been open for Kyrie now, and he hasn't had any problems with it. So, and then on top of that, that is the Baksha though. Wow.
We already know the jungler and the roamer, so no flex picks. Okay, potentially Baksha can go explain, but most likely no.
Yeah, it's very rare now. It's still an. I know even as far as up until like getting like in the group stages, it was still an option in the EXP lane during scrims. But yeah, usually it is in the roam jungle. So Onyx, let's settle on that idea.
Unless they pick Akai.
I love Akai, but I have a feeling these two teams don't like it.
Go Akai, roam, go Bucks, explain, and Lancelot, go jungle.
Now, I'm on the boat if there's going to be an Akai somewhere. Put it in the EXP lane.
Yeah.
I've always been that guy screaming about getting more Akai, but now, I don't think we're going to see Akai between these two teams. So Onyx PH picks up the Farsa. So strong burst, strong rotation, very good map presence for your mid and jungle. Things just slow down a bit with the Badang, but I feel like this Badang, it's sort of like a throwaway, because Onyx PH can still go Cho in their roam.
Yeah, they could, so like, they're both kind of playing around the fact that they could flex if they wanted to, but the Badang is the most likely flex possibility here. But it also, Badang so far has just been so good at disrupting a lot of rhythm and flow from a lot of teams, and that's why it's picked up. But you can see this early on too. In the first phase, Sans wants to play the Kadena, man. It's been banned out, and now he gets it in his hands to go against this Farsa pick for Super Friends.
It's kind of interesting and not at the same time. From one perspective, okay, you got Petrify, you can engage, you can burst someone, but I don't see crowd control. I mean, most likely, Onyx Philippines gonna ban Cho from what I see. Oh, wait, they don't need, because, we got...
No, Onyx PH needs the Cho,
they need, but I thought about the Cho going roam just to catch the opponents and to make a combination with the Kadita, but most likely Bucks is going roam. That's the reason. So they need to remove the XP laners and also Ruby ban. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think Onyx ID do not want to close off the idea again that you can get Kelra to pick up the Ruby in the gold. Look at them, they know each other too well. They're already just showing to each other, signaling to each other, I don't know what you're thinking, we're not going to block it. So I think a Claude might actually be okay here for Savero.
Yeah, this is also, it makes me wonder, again, the difference for the placements here, like we saw coming in this, is $100,000.
Yeah.
Right? So the coaches could be facing off against that too, because again, that's what's going to separate the placements here for both the teams. And it's right now it's match point, right, for Onyx Indonesia. So for Onyx Philippines, these are two big picks that still need to round up the lineup. The last ban is going to be Arlot. So they don't
Thank
worry.
you.
Hey, they don't worry about the math. They just ban it out instead.
Thank you, Onyx Philippines.
Yeah.
I love you guys.
This is the biggest smile I've ever seen on Destroyer's face this entire trip. Someone bans out the Arlos, like, oh yes, let's go. But
now it's gonna be interesting.
No, honestly, dude, I'm on the same boat. It's like, you know what? At least now we're forced to see some different options.
They did it. They did it.
They actually go for the flex. Okay, they put the Baksha in the XP, and the possibility that you posed comes out.
You know, I thought about this, but then no, you know, they're too conservative guys. They won't do it, and they're doing it.
Yeah, I think
I like it.
One of the first few times, if not the first time, we're seeing Baksha going to the XP lane.
What if it's Cho XP?
Oh,
maybe.
I think again, part of that, the flexibility is the strength there, and you could really do either, depending on how this goes. But with the Granger now picked up, you've essentially got that double marksman lineup for Onyx Philippines. What's the last choice here? All right, they go Glue. So Glue in the XP, and then what would be the best case there? Because wouldn't the Boxer just win that? Or would it just be a dead lane?
I guess, but
Just don't see that often. So
yeah. It might be better off for the Cho in the XP because it's a little bit.
Cho looks better.
Yeah, it's harder for the Glue to deal with in the laning phase. That Glue essentially is just like, all right, let me slowly clear my lane while the Cho gets out. Still think this is gonna be like a Claude for Savero. Unless they go something like Irthal if they want something mobile with good damage. But yeah, it is a Claude.
It's really hard for me. The draft is even. I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
especially, okay, if you think about Destroyer math, okay, 6v5 with Dexter,
But
Glue. How many little Gluelets does he have?
We're on the same boat, bro.
I think I'm...
somebody count them.
Yeah, I'm with Destroyer here. It's hard to read for this one.
Yeah.
Nicey, what do you think, man?
I'm on the same boat, but I'm hoping for a game 5, so I'm gonna go with Onyx Philippines.
All right, let's see if we are going to be getting that game 5 in this best of 5 series where Onyx ID are in the lead. Or will Onyx just say no more game 5? We want to walk away with $100,000 more than our Filipino counterparts. Lafel, Leo, let's take us into this game. Yeah.
I agree that this one is going to be hard to read. Heck, this is a good time to be illiterate. And now, 5v5, who cares about that? Numbers! It always expands as we're jumping in to the series where right now Onyx ID is still in match point. It's on Onyx's hands to extend, but now Super Prince looks like he's able to survive with a slither of health. And now Kirk even comes in just to provide that backup.
Early technical knockout for the Sky Kings here, giving a lot of space for Keyboy and Sans to bully Brusco. This will some way, somehow compromise King Kong's jungling patterns, unless they are able to clear him out. Yep, there it is. So it's now Keyboy's turn to actually check in on his side if King Kong's been cheeky. The answer is no. So the Super Fam are playing this a little too close to the chest, hoping that they still find a way to be proactive.
I gotta say, playing Boxia quite often this patch, it is a bit annoying going up against that Glue because you don't have a way to really survive. And now Brusco taking a bit of damage coming in from Keyboy as well as Sans, doing a very good job, trying to have priority here in mid, but it looks like they're not really rotating anywhere. They're just making sure that Onyx Philippines, they don't go anywhere. They just stay mid.
Uh-oh.
Even King Kong, just stay mid.
Lutpi put down about a third of his health. They are fighting closer to Kirk's turret, but you're right, Lavelle, it is tough for the Box to survive. Here's a quick look at the emblem set. If you want to play Baksha EXP in this current metagame, there you go, just all HP plus Concussive Blast.
Interesting, for this one, Super Prince is going for pull yourself together on that Purify, understanding that perhaps he's going to be the main target that Onyx ID wants to shut down, and respectfully so, the Farsa is going to be a big problem in this matchup. The Glue having Thrill as well, trying to make sure that he wins out that lane. So looking at the priorities coming in from Onyx Philippines, it really is to get pressure and making sure that you don't get stopped by anyone coming in from Onyx ID.
Onyx PH first to the scene here. Turtle already spawned, and Brusco pulling it ever so slightly closer to their side of the map. Sans cutting through. There's the Mount Shocker and the spread. Kirk looking to get the ride onto Lutpi. Finds the Mount Feathered Airstrike. Can Lutpi survive? Gets out of the circumference of the Feathered Airstrike. Rolling out. I guess that's how that works. And now Kirk left all to his lonesome. Gets cornered by Kyrie and Lutpi. Survives via the spread, but only for so long. The retribution, he's taken so long. He's held these two hostage, opening up the turtle take to Onyx PH. LaFell, was that worth it?
I don't think so, man, because that took forever and a half to take down one Kirk and to give over the turtle to Onyx Philippines, because we got to think about the win condition, and that's getting King Kong online as fast as possible. And in a way, they allowed that to happen.
And all the more it opened up the rest of the map for Onyx PH, because already you saw post-turtle take, Prince and Keller were able to rotate up already. So yeah, all the more, this is so worth it for the Super Fam. Onyx ID, they have to bounce back. They have to get their priorities straight, lest we go to Game 5.
Yep, that's something to keep in mind for Kirk. Make sure you manage your longs very well, because once the Lancelot has the War Axe, he's going to have an easy time to get maximum stacks on that War Axe, so maximum damage with the penetrations. He just has to be careful not to hurt his own team with those longs.
For those of you all wondering, longs are the triple OG name for Glue's Gluelings. If you know, you know. Kelra here gets visited by Keyboy. So this laning against Savero is going pretty well. Again, he's up by about half an XP bar. That is a byproduct of that early rotation post-turtle take. Mid lane, though, this story, the fact that Superfist hasn't died 4 minutes in and only popped his Purify once, that means it's going relatively good for the Super Fam.
Yep. I like that Savero has a good answer where people ask, how do you fight with Kelra? And he just says, I don't. You don't. Just let him do what he wants, and I'll do whatever I want.
Yep.
10 minutes, then we'll brawl it out. We see who's better. Now King Kong having that Hunter Strike will have quite a lot of damage coming for this turtle fight.
And this turtle is spawning in about 3 seconds, just in time for Savero to have cleared the majority of that wave. And the not fighting Kelra MO is fitting this Claude's farming pattern, because you just got to leave the lane, double lane, and then Bob's your uncle. So far, this looks like a complicated dance. Second turtle up for grabs. Kirk setting up the front line for Onyx PH. There's the Mount Shocker. Kirk already taking too much. The fifth crack and break by Brusco, setting up a turtle take. Down goes one. Lutpi bites it. Train for Kirk. Down goes Sans as well. And now it's Keyboy's turn. Double kill for the gold standard. Onyx PH walking away with everything they want.
It's so good and so bad to see a Badang perform this way, because this is the thing about Badang. It's not about being tanky. It's not about canceling out those CCs. It's just about being annoying as heck, making it so that you disrupt your opponents. Whatever plan you had, scrap it. Scrap it all, because I'm going to make sure you don't get to execute any of them.
It was just about a year ago when Badang started to rear his handsome face in this current metagame and in the higher echelons of MLBB esports, and now he's a legit mainstay. Again, the fact that you can be on the losing end of a fight and of a game and still find a way to clap back via a hero engage, that's doubled down by the fact that when you're ahead, you're so ahead. Brusco, despite just having 2 assists, have helped score everything for Onyx PH, has set up this 2K gold lead that makes us all the more closer to a Game 5. How's that for a battle for the? How's that for a quote-unquote just scrim between friendly teams? Great trade, top and bottom.
Hey, answering the question, who's the better Onyx, man? That in itself, because even during the